Hi, Sandra here from Creating Spain. I've been asked how I make my fancy background stencils or frames, so I thought I'd show you one of the methods that I use. Now, I'm using concepts on my iPad to do this, and the first thing I want to do is to create a framework for my picture. Now, this is set to, we can see here, 7.4 by 5.25 for my artboard, and that is a quarter of the size of an A6 card front. So the first thing I want to do is get my fixed line width line, and I've set on here the what I like to call the wobble factor to 100%, so I'll get a straight line. And I'm going to draw a straight line across the top here and another one down the side. I'm going to want to make that match up a little bit better. That's a bit better. Okay, down the side. There we go. So I have my basic framework. Now I'm going to swap to a different pen. Now in Concepts you have various different pens and brushes and things that you can use, and you can also buy brushes and make your own brushes and things like that. So I'm going to be using this brush, which at the moment is set to 1.7 millimeters. If I want to, I can make it a lot wider, I can make it narrower. I can do basically what I want, but it's pressure sensitive anyway, so it will vary. But this is a nice brush because if you start off, you can press harder and you can get nice swirls and things like this, which are really rather pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of those for the moment. So I'm going to go for a swirl here. I'm just basically going to doodle. Now you do want to try and make sure, if you're going to cut this out, that all your pieces are linked together. Because if they're not linked together, you're going to have a lot of fun weeding, or not. Depending on whether you like weeding or not. And I'm just doodling around. Like so. So I've got my pattern. Now I could mess around for ages neatening this up. I could mess around for ages adding various bits, but this is just a simple way of showing you how it's done. So I'm now going to export this image as a PNG, and I'm going to export it with a white paper background. This will make it a doddle for tracing purposes if you have cutting software. So click on export and the various options for exporting will come up. I will use message and that will send it directly to my laptop. You could put it in an email, you could put it into your cloud, you could put it into Dropbox. It's up to you. But that's what I'm going to do, but I'll do that in a second. And then I'm going to show you how to cope with it in Shortcut slot cutting software. And I need to import my design and trace it. So I'm going to go to Trace, choose an image, and here's my design just here. Click on Open. And I'm going to use a single colour or monochrome. Might as well use monochrome because it is monochrome anyway. And then I'm going to click OK. And here we have my design. I'm just going to put it over here, it's a bit easier to see. Now what I want to do is go to Object and Duplicate, and I want to do 2 across and I want to do 2 down. But here's where it gets more interesting. I want to put minus 0.2 in both of these things here, minus 0.2. And it's going to put these together, and it has basically overlapped them by a very minute amount. So now all I have to do is click the one on the right hand side and literally flip it. This bottom one here I flip in both directions, so I flip it left to right and then up and down. And this one here, if I can grab hold of it, there we are. I just need to make that go up and down. And then I take the entire lot and I go to Path and Union. And we are done, basically. Now, if I want a specific size, I will make sure that I put the width in this box of what I want. So 10.5. There we go. Uncheck the keep proportions because it's going to be slightly off, and I want 14.8 on this one. And there we are. That is my design done. Now, if I think this is going to be way too difficult to cut out because bits of it are too thin, all I need to do is go to Effects, go to Shadow Layer, and what I'll do in here is I'm going to put 0.05. So basically that will put a line either side of each line in this design of 0.05, or in total 0.1, so 1 millimeter in total. And I'm going to go for outline only and click OK. And for some reason it's having a little moment to think about it. And here we can see my design, which looks really nice, and it looks as if it's going to be quite easy to cut. And the last step of all that I go to is go to Path, Simplify, and take the nodes out. I've got 875 on the left and 478 on the right, which is far more acceptable. And so I'll do that, and then I will delete this one most probably and keep this design. So all that was a little bit of doodling and a little bit of copying and pasting, basically, to make a full page symmetrical design that you could use either for a stencil or for a background cut. It will look really nice if you just put a large sentiment in the middle, or if you wanted to, what you can do, I'm just going to take that, copy and paste it, so I've got a copy of the original. So for example, I could go to this and do that and fill this, make it in black. That's what I want to do at the moment. Give it a colour, black. I want to rotate the actual frame itself, so do that. And pick up the entire lot and center it. And I think that's probably big enough. So I'm going to take the entire lot, Path, Union. And then I would have a sort of like oval piece where I could stamp a sentiment or something if I wanted to do that. Alternatively, of course, you could do it as a solid oval over the top. Yeah, there are lots of different variations that you could do. So that's how to do one of my fancy frames or stencils. Hope you enjoyed that video. Take care now. Bye bye.